the next thing up on topic is working remotely. Okay, grading, editing, VFX in the cloud. And we're going to be bringing in Ben and Jeff to the conversation. And Jeff Greenberg, I'm also going to be handing over modding to you. So you're back on deck. Thank you very much. I can mute
I'm
myself,
hearing.
continue to drink beer.
I'm getting to that spot. You know, it's happy hour in St. Petersburg right now.
Well,
Here we
it's
go.
happy hour here.
Outstanding. Greg, thank you again. That was fantastic. I think I'm going to make it a point to show up because I've got one of those Dells here and I want to make sure I'm calibrating it and seeing how comparing notes. I'm dying to see what you're going to dig up about it. Meanwhile, this is probably right now, Ben and Jeff, the hottest topic every single person here is dealing with. Remote.
How do you do it?
Yeah. Now, I don't know. Are we doing this as a Q&A or do you have something prepared? You know?
Oh yeah, we're
prepared.
We're prepared. We're going to demo, and then Ben actually has some really big announcements that we just are announcing here live. So that's coming up at the end. So stay tuned, everybody.
And so we got about 25 minutes. And the one thing I'll tell you is you're definitely going to leave. You guys have got a really amazing technology. Make sure you leave a little time for some Q&A because you're going to get peppered with it.
No, that's okay. And we actually have a breakout room after this. So
absolutely. And Jeff, can you just start, because you are more than sort of technician at Eclipse Tech. You are working with this technology and using it on feature films, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. There's a film called 18 kilohertz that I did with a client out of Kazakhstan, and we'll go into that. But yeah, I've been a colorist let's share my screen here. I've been a colorist since 2003, where I was working for Autodesk, and I was actually like the first U.S. colorist to use the non-color front, the Autodesk version, to do some shots on Seabiscuit. So I did that in 2003 when I was working for Autodesk. I did a sequence on that, and I was also running Flame at the time. So I've been on Flame since 1994. Then I had done an editorial before that. So I'm kind of unique in the industry where I've worked on editorial, color, and visual effects. So that's one of the nice things, you know, now as all the technology is coming together, that all those, you know, in Resolve, you can do all those particular things. So about 2 years ago, I started with Eclipse Tech, and they had been working on a cloud-based solution, and they were looking at hosting their own data center and things like that. And Ben was involved with it, and long before that. But then it came to light that there's no need to really have your own data center, because AWS and Azure and everybody can foot the bill, you know, for the power and putting all the data center together, keeping up on the storage and things like that. So basically what we have is a cost-effective platform that allows you to create digital content wherever you are. The big thing is that you need a good internet connection. You know, the latency is kind of the issue. So what we wanted to do was level the playing field for that. So basically what I can do is I have a laptop that I'm actually using for some of my work when I travel. But I can use that laptop, and as long as I get a good monitor, you know, wherever I am in the field or in the world, I can tap into a data center, and then it actually allows me to work anywhere. The other thing is that I have, you know, 1, 2, and 3 gig speeds from that data center. So I'm going to take you into it a little bit. So the very first thing that you do is up here on the right-hand page. Our website is eclipsetech.co. Oh, and I also wanted to tell you my first two movies were the Fifth Element as a digital domain, and then Titanic after that. And as far as movies go, it's been all downhill since after that. I haven't been able to top those two movies, so I'm always very, very proud of that. Um, so first thing you do is I'm going to log out here and take you from the very beginning. So you go to the sign in page, and down here it says sign up. So here you go in and you enter your name, your email, and password using these characters and things like that. And then from there, my toolbar. Then you go. You'll get an email back, confirmation email that says the account has been created, and then you can go in and enter your sign in and your password into it. So the first place it takes you to is the dashboard. And on the dashboard, it shows you all the instances that you have. There's two things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about instances, which are actually the machine, and we're going to talk about workstation templates, which is a template that you use to create the machine. So there's a couple of the machines that I've created in various data centers. So over here on the right side, I have add workstation template. The very first thing that you can do, and this is one of the things, we've been working with the ICA, for probably about the last 6 to 8 months. And one of the things about the group is that there's people and there's instructors and students all over the world. So for like Yuki and things like that, we wanted to make sure that we're in Singapore, and for Diego and the guys, down in Colombia, we have San Paulo and North Virginia. So you want to take a data center that is close to you. So me, I started kind of pioneering remote working a year and a half ago. I moved from California after 35 years, and in California, I worked for Technicolor on the Marvel movies. So I did the dailies in Canada for The Revenant with Technicolor. So after all those years, I moved to back to Wisconsin. So the idea was like, how am I going to work from Wisconsin? So I was working with Eclipse Tech already, and so the nice thing is I started working remotely 2 years ago. So 6 months ago, when everybody had to go remote, I already had a year and probably 3-4 features under my belt. And the features work came from LA, here in Wisconsin, another one out of Florida, but I have been working internationally. So the very first thing that you're going to do is select that data center. It's a 6-step little program up here, and Ben designed this. And really what we wanted to do is have an easy button, because you can go and try and create a virtual machine with on AWS or on one of the things, but it's not a very easy process. With this, you can go in and select your virtual machine that you want. You have a variety of 4 CPUs, 8 CPUs, 16 CPUs, and those come with complementary RAM configurations. And then the really great thing for Resolve users is we use the Tesla 4 T4 card with 16 gigabits of memory on it. And then there's a very affordable hourly rate. These hourly rates depend on the data center, and the ACI instructors get 30% off, and the students get 30% off while they're using the virtual machines on their classes. So that's something that's unique. We work with many of the ICA guys, and they're really great. Now, this is a very important button that was specifically, we partnered with Teradici so that we had really great performance. And a lot of you guys are working remotely, going into the mothership and things like that. And, we're the work data center. So we're using that same high quality technology. Ben has, built a really great interface for that, and that's also evolving. So I've picked the big machine here, and then I go next step. So now this is my storage, and this is one of the big things that's or actually this is the image. So I'm selecting a Windows machine, and then there's storage. So this is something that's new that Ben's going to go into. Right now, I'm going to select the amount of storage I want for my C drive. So you want to be able to pick enough that you can put Resolve, the Adobe tools, and whatever you need on it. ICA, not ICV. And then I'm just going to name that. I'm going to go copy paste. Next step. Now here's my configuration. I've got 16 CPUs, 200 gigs of storage. I'm in Ohio, and then I hit submit. So now my template is saved. The next thing I want to do is I go down, I locate my template here, and we have a couple different things. One of the things I want to talk about, if you as an instructor or you as a student, participate in a class, one of the things that the instructor can do is go in and share a template. This is one of the things that we brought on for universities and facilities. So an administrator of a facility can go create a template and share it, and then the billing goes back to that central credit card. So that's something that as a facility and as a university, it makes it really nice that you can keep control of your track your costs and things like that. So there's also an edit button. I can go in, and Ben will talk a little bit about that. So now I'm going to go in and create a new instance, and I say create. Now I'll go back to the dashboard, and I'll see that I have Jeff ICA is created there. I hit run, and now it's going to go through, and on the very first time, it's going to take about 3 to 4 minutes for it to go set up the configuration and everything like that. And now I'm going to go and actually show you what, move my toolbar here. I'm going to go and show you what the virtual machine looks like. So I go down here, and there's my virtual machine. So on this virtual machine, I've put DaVinci Resolve, and this was a bring your own license, bring your own software model. I also have the Adobe Premiere. So I'm going to go in now and show you a little bit about the feature that I did. 18 kilohertz. It just won another award in Germany, which I'll mention a little bit. So one of the things is the production. Everybody speaks Russian. The director speaks English and Russian. The producer speaks very good English. But one of the interesting things is film is a universal language. So there you go. So if I'm syncing dailies or something like that, I have my slate. And then I can hear the director say action. Action's a universal word. So, with this, I have all my tools. So I can go in and I go down to color, and you guys been watching demos all day. So I can go in and I have full interactivity. It feels like it's on a local machine. So it's really great. You can hop back and forth between the shots. And it's very fluid, and it's all the tools that you want. The big thing is it's on the cloud. So if I want more storage or more horsepower, Ben's going to show you a little bit about that. So here's a little bit of the
I notice you're getting excellent performance. You're getting full 25 frames a second. I mean, it looks like, you're working locally.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. So it's really fast. The big thing is what really saved me in this was the transfer speeds. So they had about 12 terabytes of footage. We were able to transfer those to a Amazon S3 bucket, and then I did a conform, and I conform that down into, roughly 2 terabytes. And then when I finished it, the really great thing was I was left with about 650 gigs that I had to ship. Well, if I was doing that for my local workstation, you guys all know how hard it is to upload footage. Um, I'm able to do that at 1 gig speeds, even though I'm sitting on a Spectrum seat that maybe has, 20 to 40 gigs up. I get this really fast upload speed, and and it works out really well. So Ben will talk a little bit more about that. Let me look at my notes here. We've got bring your own software. Um, yeah, so that's about it. I will
The,
go ahead.
before
Go ahead.
Ben gets started, just I'm hoping you guys will get to the two or three other big questions. Probably part of your presentation, one being monitoring and the other being control surfaces. And with that, I'll shut my mouth and let you keep going.
That's perfect, because that's what Ben's going to feature all that stuff. So here's Ben Campbell, our CTO. He came from the defense industry, which really brings a unique insight, because there's a lot of things like being able to change the configuration of the machine that I would have never thought of coming from our industry. So you can start with 4 CPUs and go up to 16 CPUs at the end of the project when you really need more rendering. So go ahead, Ben, take it away.
Yeah, thanks. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. It's been really good working with Jeff. When we started this about 6 or so years ago, the technology, you couldn't do this at these types of performance. It just wasn't possible. So for the last few years, the industry has really made a lot of changes. Things like NVIDIA doing their grid technology for virtualization. Teradici has made many improvements, and a lot of others. So it's really exciting. Our company Eclipse Tech has sort of morphed into what it is now, largely because of the feedback from users and the technology itself that has been developed in the industry. So it's a really exciting time to be able to do this. Jeff, I noticed that there's some questions. I answered one of them on there, but on the chat, the group chat for the meeting, maybe you could tackle some of those while I go through my information here. Okay, so just a brief moment about where I come from. Jeff mentioned I come from the defense industry. It's that industry, but also more broadly the network and cybersecurity side of things. And so I was a protocol engineer for a lot of years, doing high-speed deep packet inspection and working with secure services and encryption and those types of things. And so it's a really nice change of pace to come here. I've really enjoyed working with Jeff. I've learned a lot from him just from working with him, and he's really good at what he does. So going into this, there was a question that I can address about USB devices. I think it was about Blackmagic panels. Our best option is to use Teradici, and I'll show that here in a minute. The Teradici supports USB. We've had success with the micro and the mini panels, but the advanced panel is a little trickier. I've had some reports that it works sometimes and some that it doesn't work at all. So that's the status on that while I was looking at the questions. Jeff, I'll let you handle the rest of the questions. Let me share my screen here and we'll get started on some more good stuff here. Okay, so switch the screens. We wanted to make an announcement here. This coming week, these will be press releases that we'll be posting to the wire, but we have really focused on integrating and rounding up the best in class pieces and components of this working remote situation. So I got this diagram here. The announcements are we've partnered with Wasabi for storage and with LucidLink, which is not necessarily a storage provider, but I'd like to call it a storage enabler. So it enables the way they manage your S3 buckets in the cloud, enables you to access them with truly high performance. And I'll be demoing that in a minute on a VM on one of our virtual machines. So we've got Teradici, PCYP. It's actually PCYP Ultra protocol between your client machine and your virtual machine. So your video session is top notch, good frames. Right now, Teradici, the best they could do is 4K at 30 frames and 8-bit color. You can go up to 4K monitors. You will need a little more bandwidth, available bandwidth, like maybe 100 megabit or higher for more than one monitor. But a 20 to 50 megabit connection on your download will actually work reasonably. Will work pretty great for one monitor, and that's mostly what we see in use with these virtual machines. So where Lucid Link comes into play is it manages the S3 bucket. Like I said, we've got two options. We've got Amazon S3, which is one storage option you can opt for in the back, and that one is the highest performance, especially if your virtual machine is in the same region as your S3 bucket. You get multi-gigabit speeds, and with Lucid Link, it allows you to mount that S3 bucket as a drive letter in your VM, or actually even on your local machine as well. You can use Lucid Link to use as your data upload and download into and out of the cloud. Wasabi is another option, and that's one of our announcements that we've partnered with them. So we've signed agreements with both Lucid Link and Wasabi. And Wasabi is a lot more cost effective. It can be up to about 80% of what S3 in Amazon costs. It's also, there's no cost at all for data egress. And that's a really big appeal for a lot. That's sometimes with Amazon, you can end up paying a lot for your data egress. Even so, as you're working on your S3 buckets, we've done some things, and Lucid Link has done some things to help minimize the amount of egress. And I'll show you that in a minute. So an important thing before I leave this slide is we really, really are trying to take care of the complexity of working remotely. Let us handle it. You just get to your work, just do what you do. We've got the data is encrypted in flight. So your sessions between you and the cloud are all encrypted. Everything's encrypted at rest. It really is a really secure platform. There's no, it's using industry best practices. Let's see here. Okay, now let me move over here. I've got a VM. For the sake of brevity, I won't go through the login. Jeff showed all that. But before I connect to it, I wanted to show you, I've got this second virtual workstation here. And this one is configured with 4 CPUs. So if you need more, you stop the VM, you come down here, you change it. I'll just change it to 16. You click update and you boot it back up. Your C drive is there, everything's still installed. It's not a new virtual machine. It just has more CPU cores and more RAM. So it does cost more when you upscale it. And then when you're done with that, you want to go back to something that doesn't need those resources. You stop it and you come back and you change it back down to this. Or the ultimate way to save cost is, if it's not running, it's not costing you for the runtime. It is costing for the storage still, because that's persistent all the time until you delete the virtual machine. So the 2 cost management things are don't have it running when you're not using it, and when you are using it, pick the amount of resources that you need. And that's been a pretty great way to manage things. So let me switch over to the VM. I've got one running, and we'll go through some of this.
One of the most important things to know about is with these new announcements, it allows you to have S3 storage, and with that storage, you can collaborate with the team. So multiple users, can be on it. There can be permissions set up, and you can also permission set up so certain people can get folders and other people can't get folders. So that's definitely one of the new things. The other thing is that you can create different VMs. So your storage stays intact. And if you need to, put a VM in another location or have it be bigger, Ben showed you how you can change it, but your storage is still there. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you. There's a way to share. I know I have the screen shared to my next bit here, but I will mention there's a way to share the virtual machine templates with other users. Now, this is a really, really convenient feature for class settings or small groups that are working together, where you want the billing all to come back to one to one specific portal account at Eclipse Tech. So an instructor could create the VM template and then share it with the students. The students, when they log into their Eclipse Tech portal account, they'll see the template, and from the template, they can make a virtual machine and use it. But the difference here is that the virtual machine, the billing for the virtual machine will get billed back to the account that shared the template. And that person that shared, or the account that shared the template, they can stop the VMs when they need to, they can delete them, they can unshare the template. They have full control of anything that costs money. So anyway, if you're interested, Jeff and I are happy to do demos offline, or they're online, but outside of this meeting, I should say. So let us know, contact us, and we'll be happy to go into those more details. Okay. What I've got here is the virtual machine. I'm connected to it with the Teradici PCIP client. And I wanted to show you this. I'm actually mounted to an S3 bucket via the Lucid Link client. It mounts by default to the L drive. And this demo content, we've got some RA footage. I'll be showing this these HDE clips, these 4 clips right here. And this is in the same region, in this case, Northern Virginia region of AWS. The bucket is in that region and the VM is in that region. So that's our scenario for the best performance. And as you can see over here, I've got these clips added, and this is Resolve 17, so just the public beta. Anyway, let me show you here. So these are 4K clips. If I hit this play button, I wanted to show the bandwidth transfer. So if I've got the Windows Task Manager up, and it's transferring about a gig, gig point 2, gig point 3, sustained. It's getting full frames. We're at 2398. It's not stuttering. I can skip ahead. Oops, I hit play again. It's working really well. I don't know how struggled just a little there. I don't know how well it's translating across Zoom, but once the clip has been played, if I go back to this clip and play it again, you'll see there's no data transfer. It caches it locally. If anything changes in the bucket, in the storage container, it will reread it. The Lucid Link client and the Lucid Link service, it keeps those things synchronized. And so when you're just reading content, you don't incur egress again and again and again every time you rewatch it. So now it's transferring data again because I'm playing the part of the clip that I skipped over last time. So it's in that way, it saves you on egress. When you're in Amazon, an Amazon region, and your bucket is in the same Amazon region, there is no egress charge. But if you're working as a team and maybe one user has a VM in a region and they're sharing the same bucket, there will be egress costs on that. So working with the raw files, it's probably better to work with proxy files anyway. But if you needed to, you can. These last 2 clips are actually higher resolution, and so it bumps up into the over 2 gigabit.
Ben, we're almost running out of time,
Yep.
but we do want to say that the transfer speeds and things are really the big the big thing. You can have playback, you can have multiple users on it. The other thing is that there is no commitment to this. It's pay as you go, pay for what you use, and that actually is made better now with S3 storage. Previously, if you put 2 terabytes of storage on your machine, you paid for that. The S3 storage now scales, and you pay for only what is on that storage. So it's really great.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. So the Lucid Link service, the Wasabi. If I go back to that slide, the Wasabi storage, Amazon storage, the virtual machine, Teradici licensing, all of that is handled through the Eclipse Tech portal. You log in, you create the VM, you just click play and connect to it. When you're done, you stop the VM. We really want to get the complexity out of the way. So we'll take care of it, the setup. You just get on with what you do. Get on with your work.
Guys, this is really game changing, the spot where a lot of us are going. Are we going to buy new or top of the line hardware